Good evening, everyone. Over 20 years ago, I became involved in the Ride for Research, which is now known as the Boston Brain Tumor Ride. A few years later, I had the opportunity to meet a rider, a brain tumor survivor who came all the way from Florida to raise money and participate in our event. And this was really kind of a local event, so to have somebody at that time, so to have somebody come up from Florida was, very special. And if I remember correctly, I think he was one of the leading fundraiser that year. And here it is 17 years later, and he still comes from Florida every year, and he's still one of the leading fundraisers. And now he even brings his grandson to ride with him. So I'd like to present the Community Leadership Award for Programs and Events to Bill Coffman. This award was created to honor supporters for their relentless efforts and remarkable commitment to the brain tumor community. Bill's dedication has been incredible, coming from Florida every year to do this ride. His generosity and enthusiasm are infectious. So I'd like to introduce Bill Coffman and have him come up here.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, all of you from the Brain Tumor Society, for this great honor. In 1996, I received a phone call that I'll never forget. After 2 years of testing, my doctor finally determined why I was losing my hearing on my left side. Quite abruptly, over the phone, I heard him say, "Bill, I need you to come into the office. You have a brain tumor." As you can imagine, and a lot of you can relate, it was a moment that changed my life. Even now, talking about it, the flutters are there. Yeah. So 2 years later, 1998, I received a flyer in the mail about the 1998 Ride for Research. I don't know what it says about me, but I still have the flyer. Everyone at my company knew about my condition. I am a natural spokesperson about being a brain tumor survivor. I'll talk to anybody at any time about it, and have for the last 20 years. At the company, I went down to talk to my company president, not expecting anything. I just had to tell him that I got this flyer and this is something I've got to do. And to my surprise at that point, he just offered to pay for all the expenses. I'm an emotional guy. It still touches me. And then he sent out a memo to everybody in the company asking them to support my efforts. And the funny part about that is, who writes memos today? But it was 1998. We had dial-up modems and AOL, so we got memos. Yeah, you can hear the screechy sound, right? Those of you that were doing it then. So the company got together, the associates rallied, and I raised $4,500 that first year. And it was just this is such a great organization, and it was just a wonderful thing to bring it up here and deliver it to them. But as soon as I got here, the thing that struck me, and it's really kept me coming back, and we talked about this at my table a little bit, is how welcoming everybody was. I mean, it was just, I found my place when I came up and met the people up here. Bonnie Feldman was a key part of that. That first ride, I came up here, I didn't know Boston. I had my bike, I had my shorts, I had my jersey. Didn't think it would be cold. So at the end of the ride, I'm up there shivering, and Bonnie and Nancy Powers grab a horse blanket out of one of their trunks and wrap me up in it, and they give me a dry t-shirt. And I mean, I was adopted instantly. It was awesome. Another early ride, I'm at the Fort Lauderdale airport with my wife, and we see this young boy, probably 10, 11, maybe 12 years old, disassembling his bike right there in the airport. So I gotta go talk to him. What else could he be doing? And his mom was there. He was flying up alone. He was going to do the ride to honor his dad, and he thought that they thought that the airport could help them do it, and they had nothing. So we tore his bike apart, put it in a box, and shipped it up here. And Jamel and I have been friends ever since. Yeah. The people you meet during this experience really become a part of you. You know, I talked about Bonnie, I talked about Nancy. I got to meet an old new friend tonight. Joe Coletti is here. Joe is, yeah, that's right. Give Joe a hand. Joe was such a huge part of the ride in its early days. And Joe, man, I'm glad to see you back. You know, it's Lauren Farber, Lisa Shapiro, Steve Bramfman, Michael Corkin, so many more. That's the reason I come back here, the connections you make. What an awesome organization we've got, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. There's so many of you here for similar reasons. The National Brain Tumor Society and the Boston Brain Tumor Ride really create an overwhelming sense of community and a real sense of belonging. I think you're getting that from me. I really feel like I belong here. Yeah, I'm from Florida, but this is where I come every year. And I'd have to tell you, and some of you that know me well know how hard it is when the ride is over, because it's tough watching it tear down. And I've cried more than once at the end of the ride. If you look at any of the slides here, this is my 17-year history of the ride. Oh, there's one with my grandson. Yeah, it's a family affair. My son Matt has, while stationed at Portsmouth, has done the 50-miler with me twice. My grandson Billy, who's also a survivor, has done the last 2 rides. Billy's coming back next year, as is his dad. And hopefully my youngest son Andy will be back from deployment, and he wants to ride with us as well. Jump back for a bit to 2001, and it became obvious I was going to have surgery. I was having regular seizures, could no longer drive. Watching and waiting was no longer an option. But neither was not riding in the ride in 2001. So with my anti-seizure drugs and Nancy and several other riders carrying the meds and riding at my side, we got through it. Didn't fall off the bike. This is a good ride. And thank you. And thanks to that year, thanks to the great doctors at the House Clinic and St. Vincent's Medical Center in Los Angeles, all 3 of my acoustic neuromas were removed, and my MRIs have been clean ever since. I'm lucky. I got the good kind of brain tumor. And I don't forget that. I have always had to give back because I can. And with help of my friends, my family, my work family, I've been able to contribute over $334,000 to the Boston Brain Tumor Ride. And I have to tell you, I am so grateful to be able to help. This ride's given back so much more to me. It's given me a purpose. It's given me a lot of new friends. And most importantly, for all of us, it gives us hope. Thank you so very much.